There was no way or no reason for him to be reelected if the economy was in the tank 3 years from when he said it. And that's exactly where we are. So now, yeah, it's time for some positive change, for some common sense, fiscally conservative ideas, solutions to be put in place to get the economy back on the right track. And of course, they are common sense solutions. You heard some of them articulated in the debate last night. It made for a good debate. It was a pretty exciting night last night.
All right, so where are you in your decision-making process? I just spoke to your husband, Todd is here, your kids are here, you're having a good time. This is an important time for the state of Iowa. We're told that Rick Perry may make an announcement. Where are you in your decision-making?
And as for Rick Perry, you know, I hope that he does jump into the race. The more the merrier. The more ideas that are debated out there, the better for the electorate. You all deserve good choices in these 2012 election. So, you know, I hope he and others are willing to put themselves forward in the name of service. As for me, I'm still considering it. The impacts on family have a lot to do, obviously, with a decision like this.
You just had a new grandchild?
A new, most perfect, beautiful baby girl born into the family, very blessed. But impact on family is certainly paramount. Now, I still think that there is enough time here, knowing that the field is not yet set. I think that there will be people coming and going in the next couple of months still, Sean.
All right, let's talk a little bit about last night's debate and a comment that you made earlier today, which anybody but Obama, that you could support any of the candidates that were on stage last night. What were your impressions of the debate as you were watching it?
I was thankful that some folks finally took off some gloves last night in the debate, because the people of Iowa and everywhere else across this great country deserve people who are passionate about the change that needs to take place to get the economy back on the right track. Now, last night we finally saw some folks calling it like they saw it, like Newt Gingrich. I was so proud of him last night as he called the press out, he called the media out for taking on the press, focusing, unfortunately, too often on superficial issues. We're at a time of economic woe and things happening in our country that don't need to be happening, that are so adversely affecting our small businesses, our farm families, the individual Americans who want the exceptionalism put back into our country. And yet the media wants to focus on things that really are superficial, and Newt Gingrich called press out on that last night, and I was proud of him for doing it.
Don't you think, though, that sort of you've been beaten up by the press so hard, and every time you kind of bounce back? Recently, they've attacked Michelle Bachmann. You saw the picture of Michelle Bachmann, the least flattering picture that anybody can have. You experienced that. I think you were in your running shorts. I don't know, you know. But it seems like every time the media attacks conservatives, they just come bouncing back with more support from people, and it doesn't seem to work.
It's because, you know, human nature, we are allowed to make a choice as to how we react to our circumstances, right? We can become bitter or we can become better. I think a lot of conservatives, we're getting so used to being beaten up in the mainstream media that we're just saying, hey, I'm going to choose to become better informed, a better debater, even more passionate about positive change, regardless of what the media is going to do to the person.
All right, look at where we are here now. 75% of the country thinks we're on the wrong track. The president's approval rating is 40. On issues involving the economy, he's now in the low 30s. We see what's happening in Europe, in London, in Great Britain, in France, Portugal, Spain. If we continue down this path, is this something that you think is coming to America?
Absolutely. We would be naive to just put our head in the sand and pretend that through some kind of magical thinking that demise will not happen in this country as we're seeing in other countries if we repeat the mistakes that they made. The mistakes would be continuing to overspend and borrow money that we are sending a bill then to our kids and our grandkids to repay for us, and allowing government overreach to really stifle the entrepreneurial spirit in America. We are naive to think that we are not going to end up just like other socialist countries are ending up if we continue down that path. No, we know what the solutions are. It's just a matter of applying them.
I think, like a lot of people, that they were as frustrated as I was on this, you know, increasing the debt ceiling. Immediately the president gets nearly $1 trillion. There's only $67 billion in the first 2 years of cuts. It's going to be kicked down the road, which is often the case.
Right.
And nor do we consider or debate or discuss that government increases their spending 8% a year.
Right, right.
And so we're never going to balance a budget. I doubt everybody in this audience is getting an 8% increase every year.
Right. Even that 10-year deal that we saw just struck is not going to solve the problem. We're not digging into the root of the problem, which is government spending too much money, borrowing money from foreign countries that will make us beholden to those foreign countries. So even that deal will not get us out of the problem that has been created by liberals spending too much money in the federal government.
Do you have any faith in this commission that is now going to get together? We now know the people that have been named. Do you have any faith in their ability? Because I don't.
You know, I agree with Palin and Newt last night, who both said they think that it's a stupid idea, really. More government bureaucratic commission and committee to do the job that Congress should have done. I'll bet you can go out here and you can find 10 members of any Iowa farming family and ask them, what are the common sense solutions that we need in order to make the cuts in the federal government, and in order to really get the economic engine, our small businesses, to be able to get up and running and grow and thrive and hire more people. You ask any 10 members out here, and they could probably give you a better idea than those 10 members of a commission.
I agree with you.
Why, Sean?
I'll take the 10 guys in the...
You know why? Because those 10 committee members, these members of Congress have been part of the problem, not part of the solution. I say it with all due respect to those who are willing to serve in public office, but doggone it, no more of the same. No more politics as usual.
We've had 18. Isn't it embarrassing that the United States of America, with all its strength and all its history that has, literally saved the world from fascism, Nazism, communism, terrorism, that now we get a debt downgrade because they have spent us into oblivion? I think America is better than that, and they had an opportunity to fix it. Standard & Poor's told them what it would take.
Well, the American public told them what it would take. We said, Congress, cut the budget, cap spending, and balance the budget. Now we're beyond cut, cap, and balance. Now we're telling Congress, cut the crap and balance, please.
We're going to have a lot more with Governor Sarah Palin. We are live at the Iowa State Fair. Also coming up tonight, Mike Huckabee, Governor Terry Branstad is here, Herman Cain, and much more, and Congressman Steve King straight ahead. And welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. As we are live from the Iowa State Fair, we continue to be joined by former Alaska Governor, Fox News contributor Sarah Palin. All right, well, I think we're at a tipping point, and I think we're watching, almost before our very eyes, a meltdown of the presidency in terms of Barack Obama's ability to pivot, to adjust, to change. Give Clinton his due. When push came to shove, he did shift.
He did.
I don't see this in this president. Why?
And Clinton did. He was smart enough and pragmatic enough to know that he needed to roll over from that way left side of the bed and kind of go over into the center there. And he had Congress, though, to shift him to the center.
Right.
And
push him.
Yeah, and they were strong enough. And that helped. That helped our economy. That helped our country. No, Obama isn't capable of doing that. I don't know if we're seeing so much, Sean, though, a meltdown of a presidency. I think we're seeing a great awakening of the American public. They're seeing what you saw, what I saw in candidate Obama.
Right.
When we were questioning his record, we knew that he wasn't being vetted. We didn't
at all.
Voters were not told what it was that he truly believed in until we saw some snippets here and there that were uncensored, unedited, when he alluded to his desire to redistribute wealth and to fundamentally transform America. Now, people are realizing what he meant by that fundamental transformation of America, and they're saying, no, that is not what we need. What we need is a great restoration of America.
But here's a more serious question. If we're really at that tipping point, I agree that there's a rising ascendancy in the country. We see the impact of the Tea Party movement. We saw the impact in the 2010 race. You've been all around the country, but the question is, when half the country doesn't pay taxes, when 15% are now on food stamps, we have a dependency entitlement class. It's almost the voting majority. Does that become problematic?
Of course it does.
Explain.
Of course it does, because all President Obama needs is for more people to not be working and not paying into the system, but being takers from the system than not, and he can get reelected. And that is why it's so important for people to get engaged. engaged, to do their homework, to understand the issues, to understand the paramount situation that we're facing today, and making sure that they're doing all that they can to get engaged in these electoral politics of 2012, supporting candidates that they can believe in, and making sure that their candidate understands free market principles, understands that government has got to rein itself in. We've got to incentivize industry so it stays here and we don't chase jobs offshore.
All right, it was interesting. As I have an opportunity to interview you often, and you said that you would get in if you didn't see a candidate that was really emerging and resonating with the American people. One thing I have noticed in the last few times that I've interviewed you is that your passion is rising. You're going around the country. I see a shift. I sense that your desire to be involved is becoming greater. Am I interpreting that correctly?
You know, I've described that as a fire in the belly, and it's not just me, but it's so many Americans who we are speaking with today.
No, you know, my fire in the belly is fire Obama. That's my fire in the belly.
Good. That passion is real. It's sincere, because I love this country. These folks love this country. They want to make sure that we are handing the next generation the blessings of liberty, and those liberties are being taken away from us economically and in a realm of other areas, Sean, because from the top down, folks are not understanding in Washington, D.C. the exceptionalism that is America and what it's going to take to restore that exceptionalism, protection of our Constitution, respect for that Constitution, respect for the free market that allowed America to be as prosperous as it is today.
Right. Now, one of the things I've been saying is we've got to balance a budget.
That's
so
simple.
if you run, what is your plan? How would you get us to a balanced budget? Realistically, how long does it take you as president to do it, even perhaps if you have a divided Congress?
You've got to get in there as president and finally present a plan to Congress.
In writing?
A real plan where you are showing where the cuts can and should be made. We have got to reform entitlements. There's no question about that. We have got to cut back on all of the spending, especially those things that the federal government is trying to do that state governments could and should be doing. Say Department of Education.